welcome into the 305 guys here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnik. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnik on 5 Reasons Sports. I got Alex Donno. You can follow him quite conveniently at Alex Donno. We're sponsored here by Price, but you make it easy on the people. You don't even need an initial. What is your middle initial?
G.
Alex Giordano.
Yeah, Giancarlo is my middle name.
Okay, Giordano. That makes it sound like, it's like it's like deep dish pizza in Chicago.
Yeah.
Giordano's.
Giordano's.
Yeah,
Deep
Giordano's.
dish.
Exactly.
Deep dish a little heavy. I could do deep dish like once a year, maybe
Yes.
once every 2 years, and then
Yes.
I'm good for a while.
My daughter not impressed by it. Prefers the New York pizza. Probably that's because that's what's in her blood. But yeah, she was not big on. But she liked the Chicago hot dog even less. And
Oh, really?
I couldn't get her to try Chicago Italian beef. So I just that's
my favorite of the Chicago staples. The beef sandwich to me, I think, is the best of the group.
Yes, I'm with you on that. The pizza, it's good, but it's soup. It's like Jon Stewart had the great line about all this stuff. Chicago pizza. I wish we were back in an era where that's what mattered. All right, Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Use the code FIVE. Put down your $5. You get $50 in lineups to play right away. Follow our plays because we've been really right on a lot of stuff lately. NFL plays, of course, are all on there. Coming up on the Thursday night game, and then of course that's actually not a bad Thursday night game this week. And then coming up on the weekend, Dolphins, of course, don't play until Monday, so you can enjoy your weekend before they play against the Jets on Monday night. We're going to talk about that a little bit here as well. But use the code 5 FIVE. Put down your 5. You get $50 in lineups to play right away. Again, it's PrizePicks.com. So this is an odd time in South Florida sports, and I have a cold, so I apologize for that in advance. But for the past 30 years, with the exception of, the occasional 2003 Marlins, 97 Marlins, the Canes obviously went through a bit of a down period. The Dolphins have been in a down period basically this entire millennium. It's been the Heat. Like, essentially, when we say South Florida sports, we're like, okay, well, you got the Heat. That's what you got. But, of course, the Heat are in this transitional phase now, and now they've lost their leading scorer for the first month of the season. And there really are two franchises, programs that have separated themselves from the others down here. And I don't think either of them was expected if you go back 4 years. I mean, is that fair to say if we're talking about UM and the Panthers right now? The Panthers certainly were not. Before that Stanley Cup run and everything that came with the Kachuk trade and Zito taking over. But I think the Canes, I mean, again, you know more about this than I, but have been in this cycle where there would have been some hope for some coaches, and then the hope quickly faded. And this time, at the very least, it feels somewhat sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years ago was still the Manny Diaz era. That would have been the 2021 football season. He ended up getting fired at the end of it. But, I mean, nobody had any idea at that time, September of 2021, that he was, on his last season, and that after they got rid of him, they would start really investing in football, like investing the money and the resources to bring the team, into the 21st century and to compete with the Ohio States and the Texases of the world, the way that they're trying to do on that big stage. So it's certainly fair to say on the Canes, and we've seen, in about the past 3.5 years, the roster coming together. And then with the Panthers, I would say 4 years ago, they were an exciting hockey team and they were on the verge of maybe making deep playoff runs. But did anyone imagine at the time that, Bill Zito would take that roster to the next level, to the point where, Ethan, we're getting very close to dynasty territory for these Florida Panthers. I don't know exactly how people define dynasty, if there's one definition that's accepted or if it just kind of depends on who you talk to, but you're talking about a team that's been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and has won 2 consecutive cups, which is hard to win consecutive championships in any sport, let alone one that takes the physical toll on you like hockey does. Right? They're going to try to win a 3rd straight, and why the hell not? They've kept the band together there. So you've got. I'm old enough to remember, as I know a lot of the people watching this are, back, going back more than a decade, 15 years, when the Panthers were an afterthought. before the current ownership came in, because Mr. Viola and Mr. Sifu really, they're the ones who set the wheels in motion a little over a decade ago to bring it to where it is now. Like 15 years ago, I mean, the Florida Panthers weren't, a serious hockey franchise compared to the ones that compete for championships every year. And now here we are. And then, like you mentioned, the flip side of it is Miami Dolphins, despite hitting the demolition button 5-6 years ago, are nowhere closer to winning a Super Bowl. They're 0-3. Their season is essentially over now before it started with an 0 start. And the Miami Heat, like, listen, and Hero being out to start the year, they're looking at a win total of 37 over under, whether it's 37 and a half. So the expectations aren't very high there. It's a hockey town and a college football town, which I thought it was so cool that you had Matthew Tkachuk on College Game Day this past weekend, kind of bringing those two teams together for him to be the one making the pick.
Yeah, I mean, they want to be associated with them, which I understand. And what's crazy about this is that the Marlins, of all franchises, are poised to finish with a better winning percentage than is now the projection for either the Dolphins or the Heat. I just want to repeat that. The Marlins are poised for a better winning percentage than is projected for the Dolphins and the Heat. I think that the Heat's expectations are a little too low, but in terms of the general perception of them. But with that said, they're not expected to contend for anything. The Marlins are in the mix for a wild card spot. They're on the fringe of it. I started paying attention about a week ago. I remembered it was baseball season, and look, they're right there with an opportunity if they can sweep the Mets and everything else that needs to go on here towards the end of it. But that is the odd circumstance we're in, which is that the Heat. This is not. I mean, look, they were in the finals in 2023, so it's not like they're that far off from success. We're not talking about a drought like the Dolphins have had, but they have been the mainstays. And right now, it's not exactly clear where they're headed. They're leaning young, but we don't know if those young players are going to pop. And they've had trouble getting stars recently. The Dolphins is the embarrassment here. This is, like you said, they hit the reset button in 2020, and to be here 5 years later and further away from a playoff win than they were a year or two ago. And the Panthers have lapped them, and the other football team in town has lapped them. And again, we had a lot of conversations. I know NIL has changed this. Like you said, investing in the program in a way that they haven't in a while changed this. But, people would kind of mock the whole is back, the Canes are back thing. And now the Canes are number 2 in the country. That's back. Right? Is that you not want to say that? You not want to jinx it?
I don't say it, and I've said this many times. I'm not going to utter that. I'm not even going to say. I'm not going to repeat what you just said. I will not say that phrase until they win their 6th national championship. I can't. Because I'm too superstitious.
I got to change the podcast today when that happens. I know I get it, and I know you don't like to make the picks either, but they're relevant again. I think that's the thing, right? Right now, there are 2 teams in town that are relevant.
Yeah.
And that's the Panthers and that's the Canes. Now, the Panthers have proven it. They've won 2 cups. They've been in the last 3 cup finals. I think if you win 3 in a row, you're a dynasty. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, especially in the modern age of salary caps and parity, if you win 3 in a row, I even think if you win 3 out of 4 and you're competitive for the 4th one, I think that's kind of I mean, we're the Heat. I'll put it this way. We're the Heat of the big 3. Did they fall short of a dynasty? That they were in 4 NBA finals and they won 2 of them. I feel like if they'd won the 3rd one, then yes, right?
I mean, I don't, because here's the thing. I think I would lean to that being a dynasty, because if it's not, then what do you call it? Like, what do you call a team that for 4 years was, playing for championships and winning 2 of them and getting to 4 finals? I don't know what else you would call that other than a dynasty.
Well, I know a lot of people in retrospect don't nationally. I saw that CBSSports.com ranked the 25 champions of the past 25 years in the NBA, and they gave the 2013 team the 8th slot, which I thought was team that won 27 straight.
Yeah,
and
that's low.
And they cited that the competitiveness against the Pacers and against the I guess it would have been no, yeah, that year where the Pacers was the more competitive
Pacers.
series, and then the
Mhm.
Spurs. But again, the Spurs were good enough to win a championship the next year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any
And that was
shame
a
in that.
crazy series. Seven games, the game
Yeah,
6 shot. Like,
right.
how is that not higher than number 8?
It shouldn't be worked against them. And I
Yeah.
one of the guys who does that did the ranking is a friend of mine, and he's a Warriors fan, and he had couple of the Warriors teams ranked higher, and one of them I thought
Yeah.
was okay, but the other one was not.
But
Then
by
they
the way,
had it.
speaking of crazy stuff from people who cover certain teams, like I had to say this because I didn't get a chance to say it on my Locked On Canes episode this morning because I saw it after. So somebody sent me a clip of so there's this, it's a really good outlet. It covers Florida State. It's called
Uh,
War Chant. It's like probably
yes.
like the top Seminoles outlet. And they do good work. Like I take nothing away from them. But they were doing a podcast and one of their listeners like wrote into them, guys, I think the Virginia game, that's who Florida State plays this week, will be tougher than the Miami game. Can you talk me out of it? And they didn't talk him out of it.
Really?
They agreed that they think Virginia is a tougher game than Miami.
Yeah, see, this is the delusion of college sports fans. It's
Crazy.
one of the reasons I can't engage in it quite as much. Look. At this point, okay, and getting back to the throwing of the dice, I don't know that the Heat of 2000 they were a sensation. They were like
Yeah,
they were
that's a good word, sensation.
I
Yeah.
came up with that on top of my head, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call them a dynasty again because they didn't
Yeah.
close it. But this is a parity era, and even in
Well,
the
let me
NBA,
ask you this then: Have we ever had a I mean, was the Canes of the '80s and '90s, was that the only dynasty we've ever had in South Florida sports? Because the Dolphins
yeah.
did win 2 championships in a row, 3 straight Super Bowls, but that, I guess that's not a dynasty then. Obviously, the
Yeah, well,
Marlins have
but
never
they
had a.
also they're also all, I think there are factors involved. I think
Yeah.
when you win every game in a season while winning 2 Super Bowls,
Okay,
I
that's a
think I think
sensation.
it's a sensation. It's not a dynasty. I mean, look, the other thing about the Panthers is that we know how hockey is, and they can get into a series and just run into a hot goalie and lose in 6. I mean,
Yeah.
they could have lost the Toronto series last year, probably should have lost the Toronto series last year. They had to obviously come back in several of these series that they've been in. They've had to win a ton of road games. But look, when the last team I mean, hockey's had dynasties. They had the Islanders in the 80s, they had the Oilers in the 90s. They've had them, but they haven't had them recently. The NBA, I think, was it 8 champions in the last 8 years? So there's nothing dynastic that's being created in the NBA. That's one of the reasons why ESPN and others just keep focusing on LeBron wherever he goes, because there hasn't been anybody who's going to be able to form a dynasty. I guess the Warriors were probably the closest, but of course they had the loss to
Yeah.
the Cavs in 16. So
Yeah.
but the whole thing is we've got one team that we're debating whether or not they're back, and I'm sorry I won't throw you out on a limb there, and another team where we're debating whether we're a dynasty, and we got two other franchises here uh, that are hard to drum up interest for right now.
Yeah.
I'm finding that because they're the two primary ones we cover, and there's less buzz about a Heat Media Day training camp. The Tyler thing didn't help, but
No.
then I can
Yeah. When
remember.
I got that notification on whatever it was, Bleacher Report, I saw it and like my heart just sunk. I'm like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Well, since I'm the one who broke the news,
Oh, I
uh,
didn't even realize you broke the
yeah,
news. Wow. So
I
the notification that I
they don't
got did
cite
not.
me.
It should have
They don't.
said Ethan Skolnik reveals Tyler Hero. It should have
No
said
chance.
that.
And I worked for them. There's no chance
Oh,
that they're doing that. ESPN certainly went
yeah.
out. They waited for Shabbos to have it an hour after me. But when I
Yeah.
heard
Right.
about it at about 1 a.m. the morning of,
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, okay. This is like for us as a podcaster and someone who runs a sports network. I was like, well, okay, short term bump, be a lot of interest in this for 3 days, and then long term malaise
Yeah.
because people are going to be sort of checking out. But I guess the overall, we'll close it with this. And appreciate our sponsor, Prize Picks, FIVE. The overall point is that if organizations or programs are run competently and resources are put into them, then you can rise. And we've seen but with the Panthers and now to a certain degree with the Dolphins, the resources have been put in, but the competency has not been there. The Marlins, the resources have not been there, but there seems to be, I guess, a little bit more
Yeah.
competency
I think
now.
so.
And the Heat, the resources have mostly been there, and the competency has been there, but there have been more mistakes made lately than there have been in the past. And I think so. All that plays into it. I don't expect the Heat to stay down. Unfortunately, I do expect the Dolphins to stay down.
They'll prove it
Right?
otherwise. That's where we are.
Yep. And listening to Bill Zito last week again, I talked about this on our show last week. Like, there's just a total calm about what they have going on. There's no panic. There's no need to. If they get a few bad bounces and they get knocked out in the second round, it happens. But like they're going to put themselves in the best position to compete, and they've got a roster that is absolutely freaking loaded, all the way down to the point that like Kachuk is out for a month, and you're like, they'll be okay. They'll be
I
okay.
think the only thing that can hold, well, the only things that could hold the Panthers back from winning another championship. I mean, you mentioned obviously hockey.
Yeah.
It's like running into like a great starting pitcher, but even bigger because the starting pitcher doesn't pitch every night. You run into a super hot goalie, or just the physical fatigue of being in 3 straight finals. I think a combination of those two things is the only thing that can keep them from another title.
And I don't think the physical fatigue is going to get to them like it has to some other franchises because
Yeah.
of their depth. Their
Yeah.
depth will
True.
carry them. And then they always have these like timely injuries where like Kachuk's going to be rested for the playoffs. You know,
Yeah.
that's right. I mean, last year Ekblad failed that test and came back ready for the playoffs. Like things have tended to work out for them in a way. They got this Mackey, I can't Samsovich, I can't pronounce his name, who looks like he's going to be their next guy. Lundell is a mini Barkov. Like they just got to play guys up and down the roster. All right, Alex, appreciate it. Everybody use that code FIVE, get your $50 in free lineups. Here, maybe you argue with us. I guess the next franchise to get itself back up, again, I would expect it to be the Heat. I don't think a lot of people on our stream are going to argue it's the Dolphins, but we'll see. Maybe they can get a win on Monday night. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.